What's going on, nation, and welcome to Dawn of the Delts. This routine is going to be geared towards building muscle on your shoulders and traps. Once again, like the previous two videos, if you guys haven't seen them, you can check them out over here, Out Triceps and Beast Mode Biceps. We're going to be starting with a heavy 5x5. So you might want to try to find a spotter for that exercise. If you can't find a spotter, you can still do the 5x5. You might just go a little lighter on the weight. We're also going to work once again with those forced repetitions to try to break through some plateaus. The way this routine is going to work is going to be 4 exercises for shoulders, then we're going to move on over into traps, and you're only going to be taking about a 60 to 90 second break in between each exercise, but on that 5x5 you might want to rest a little longer, maybe 2 to 3 minutes. So let's take a quick look at the routine and get started. You're going to start off this routine with the standing barbell overhead press. And you're going to perform 5 sets of 5 repetitions. So we're doing a 5x5. Now you'll notice with my form that I'm keeping my elbows under my wrists and I'm pressing overhead as high as I can. So I'm getting a full extension and I'm bringing the bar all the way down to my chest with each rep. Now some of the things you can't see that I'm doing is I'm actually keeping my glutes tight. I'm taking in a breath after each repetition and I'm using that to create the internal belt that's going to help me keep my core as tight as possible so that as you start to lift heavier and heavier, you don't feel a lot of pressure in your lower back, which can happen a lot with this exercise as you start to lift heavy. So I'm on my 3rd set now. I've bumped the weight up about 10 pounds. I started off at 135, now I'm at 145. And so once again you'll see I have my spotter John behind me, just watching me, making sure if I need a little bit of help, he can jump in there with those forced repetitions. And now as I start to get heavier with the exercise, I'm really taking a second to pause at the top of the movement, reset my breath, reset my body, and then bring the weight down and press it back overhead. John's doing a great job. He's mentally spotting me without having to touch the bar, so it's helping. Yeah, I keep bumping the weight. I'm like, I'm definitely need a spot this time. Not yet. So we'll bump it up a little more for the next set. Alright, sounds good. Thanks, John. Now on to the 4th set, up to 155 now. Now for me personally, as I start to lift heavy, I have to be careful with the amount of breath I hold in when I hold my breath, because sometimes it makes me feel like I want to pass out. So I have to be careful and really reset myself at the top of each repetition. You'll also notice that I'm not using momentum to do any of the reps. I have John there for a specific reason, to help me focus on forced repetitions so that I can help myself get stronger and activate more muscle fiber. I mean, of course, I could probably put this on my chest and bounce it in the air a bunch of times in a row, but that's not the point of the 5x5. The point of the 5x5 is to build strength and to use my own strength to get the weight up, not momentum. So now we're here on the last set. I've bumped it up another 5 pounds, so I'm at 160. This is a bit challenging for me, but luckily John's a good spotter and he's there to step in when I need him. Just make sure that as you start to lift heavy that you don't let your form break down. As you can see, there's no momentum. I'm keeping my elbows under my wrist and I'm doing full extensions all the way down to the chest, all the way up top, fully extending the arms. Really good spot. Thank you. Thanks, man. Let's move on to the next exercise. The second exercise you're going to perform is a Barbell Front Raise. And you're doing 3 sets of 8 to 10 repetitions. Now, as you can see from my form, I have my hands just outside of shoulder width. And again, I'm not using momentum here, and I'm only bringing the bar to just past my face, a little bit higher than my chin. I'm trying to keep my shoulder blades retracted on the way up and all the way down. And I'm squeezing that bar as hard as possible. You can see a lot of deltoid engagement as I perform this exercise. The third exercise you're going to perform is a dumbbell lateral raise. We're going to really try to isolate that medial head. When you do the dumbbell lateral raise, you want to make sure that you're trying to keep your elbows above your wrists as much as possible. As you get towards the top of the movement from the angle that it's at right now, you can't really tell that I'm actually turning my wrist over forward a bit to try to get my elbows a bit higher with each repetition. And again, I'm not using momentum at all. Next we have the receded reverse fly. Again, 3 sets, 8 to 10 repetitions. Now with this exercise, you can grab the handles a bunch of different ways. I want to focus on the posterior deltoid, so you'll notice my palms are facing in, kind of like if you were to do a dumbbell bent over fly or bent over reverse fly. And as you can see, I'm bringing the weight back, I'm not using momentum, and I'm controlling the weight on the way back each time as well. Now moving on to traps. I'm going to start out with some barbell shrugs, and the goal with this isn't to work on my grip strength, so I'm going to put my wrist wraps on just to make sure I can hold the bar as long as I need to, because I'm going to go a little heavy for the first couple sets. What I'm actually going to do is 3 heavy sets of 8 to 10 repetitions, and then from here I'm going to go into a burnout set. And all the squat racks were taken, so I had to start off by putting the bar on the ground, which isn't a problem as long as you can lift what you're shrugging. And what I'm actually doing at the top of this, it looks like I'm bouncing, but what I'm trying to do is just hold the weight up there for a second for a little more engagement. As you can see, it's working. So once again, like I said, now that I've finished, what I wanted to do was just lighten the load a little bit. I was doing 315 for 8 reps. What I did now for a quick burnout is 225 for a set of 20 repetitions, really focusing on getting full range of motion all the way up and all the way down. At the bottom of the movement, I like to really make sure I'm sagging my shoulders as much as possible just to get the maximum amount of range of motion out of the shrug. Another thing you want to do when you perform this exercise is try to make sure you're bringing your shoulder blades back a bit as you go up and down. The next exercise is the Barbell Upright Row, and then you can choose to use an easy curl bar. I prefer using an easy curl bar for this exercise. It's a little easier on the wrists, but you can use a straight bar if you'd like. Just make sure once again that your elbows are always higher than your wrist as you perform the exercise, and I try to bring the bar up to the bottom of my chin. Now the last exercise you're going to perform is the face pull, and you're going to use a rope for this exercise. And now I've taught this exercise before by actually standing up and having the pulley a little lower. But you got to work with what you have. All the cables were being taken over at the gym at this point in time, and so what I did was I used the pulley system where it's all the way at the top, and I kind of angled my body to simulate it being about the same height as my head. That's why I'm kind of leaning back a little bit. And again, make sure your elbows are higher than your wrists. There you guys have it. That's your dawn of the Delts workout. If you guys want to talk about the routine or ask questions, you can talk about it here in my forum post. More great tips, exercises, and routines. Feel free to join us on ScottHermanFitness.com. And as always, more good stuff coming soon. See you guys. If you're looking for a quick way to switch things up, log into your SHF profile and go to the workout section of the website. Once there, click on the muscles you want to train, then you'll be brought to a page where you can further filter down your search. Now you have a complete list of all the routines that target your chest and utilize only a barbell or dumbbell. From here you can rate the routine, add it to your routines in your profile, And if you scroll down, you can see a write-up of the entire routine as well as photos of all the exercises. You can also download a printable PDF just by clicking on it.